Hey, you are listening to Abyss Gazing, a horror podcast where we celebrate all things spooky and mental health.
I'm
one
your
of your
co-host,
co-hosts,
Mark.
and I'm the other
Billy.
co-host, Billy. I was
He's
trying to
got
get in
interrupt.
first for once.
Jeez.
Wow. And I'm the co-host that didn't get interrupted, Josh. And we are joined by Derek and Eric of the band So Much Hope, buried off of their brand new release. I'd be lying to say I'm not weak. How are you doing, gents?
Doing great. Thank you for having us. This is amazing. This is so cool.
Fantastic. Yeah, love to be here.
So I said this, of course. So I said this before we started recording. Congratulations, you guys are less than 2 weeks out from having just released this album. This album is really different than everything else that you guys have done before. So can you guys kind of talk about kind of just essentially hitting that reset button and kind of just getting an entire new era of So Much Hope for this album?
Yeah, of course. So we basically formed in 2020, and it was basically just piano and a spoken word. So the first song we have is called Worry, and it's just me and my friend, and he basically just laid down some spoken word, like poetry, on just a piano part that I wrote, and it kind of formed into this melodic hardcore band that was our previous EP. And then our lead screamer left the band, and then everyone, I'm sure Eric can tell you, Derek sings really well.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was kind of stoked to finally get to be a front man again, because I was a front man in other bands, and I just love singing, and we got to add the piano, and we truly just experiment with different sounds. And I think that's one of the most unique things with this group, that we get to like have fun with it and experiment. And the beauty of Eric, Andrew, and Gavin, they just it's not like they don't care. It's just they trust, each of us trusts each other's ability. And it's kind of like how I'd Be Lying kind of formed, was just kind of just sitting in a room and just experimenting with different things.
With the lineup change, there was a moment where we were thinking like, okay, are we going to get someone who is going to do this poetry thing, screaming thing, law dispute, sort of very niche vocal? And we're like, are we going to replace that? And it was either me or somebody was like, hey, Derek's actually just a great singer. Why doesn't the band just not be that anymore and just be a different band with the same name? So we ended up just like writing a ton of new music that had no screaming in it. And so the Sentiment EP, like, it's cool, it holds a place in our heart, and we found a community that appreciates it, so we didn't want to take it down, because we didn't want someone to be like, hey, like, what gives? Like, like, if you like it, like, I appreciate it that you like it, and here it is for your listening enjoyment, but we don't play it anymore. We're never going to go back to it. We're never going to play it. And it's, it's all steam ahead towards the new sound, this new vibe, this new kind of lineup that we solidified.
I don't know if other people if you guys have experienced this, but with this new music that you guys are releasing, there's not only this new sound, but also this new visual aesthetic that you guys have with it that's kind of feels very much like, if you've ever seen My Chemical Romance's Helena video, it's kind of
interesting.
that, but with a little bit of like old school Hollywood. Can you guys talk about how that also kind of came to be a part and accompany the new sound?
Yeah, the first time that we thought about doing a black and white theme was for our single Apparition. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea why. Why did we say black and white?
I don't remember.
It just happened, and we were like, hey, that looks really cool in black and white. So Apparition was meant to be just a single by itself. It's not on I'd Be Lying, and it was just kind of meant to be. There were two singles. There was Dissolve and Apparition. Dissolve was something that we put out fairly quickly, just to be like, hey, we don't sound like this anymore. and then Apparition came out afterwards. We put a little more time and care into, and yeah, I don't know. I guess it was just like, hey, this looks really cool, black and white. And then as we're writing the new record, we were thinking, why don't we just do this black and white thing in this theme? And then Derek has these lyrical themes that kind of fit a very black and white aesthetic. And, we kind of fell in love with that look. And then we're super fortunate because my wife does basically everything for us in terms of visuals. So she shoots and edits all of our music videos. That's what she does for a living. She's I guess a cinematographer, if you will. And then we were like, her name is Sarah. We were like, hey, Sarah, hey, thanks for doing the music videos. We also need pictures. And she's like, I don't really do pictures. And I was like, maybe you can though. So can you do our pictures? So then she does our pictures. And then we're like, hey, Sarah, we need a lot of merch made. Can you design all the merch? She's like, you guys are insane. So we threw her into all this stuff that she normally doesn't do, but oh my gosh, she is incredible. She killed it. And, yes, she is my wife, but I genuinely actually believe that she did a phenomenal job on all of this stuff. So we already knew that she was going to do great with the video. The video wasn't a risk. She does that for a living, and we already knew she was phenomenal. But the pictures and the graphic design was very much just hey, you're artsy. Can you do it? So it just kind of stuck, and we just really went full force in this black and white kind of theme. And that's just going to be what I'd Be Lying is. It's going to be this brand of ethos, whatever you want to call it, of just black and white. And then eventually for the new music, we're going to swap to something a little different that
probably the opposite, but more of white
and black.
No, but no, kind of brighter colors and kind of
maybe
messing around with more color stuff.
Yeah, we haven't really even talked about this too much, but yeah, probably something with, I don't know. Doesn't matter. I'd Be Lying is the only thing that matters right now. and that is black and white.
Yeah, with the older stuff, with our old sound, the spoken word stuff, I just feel our imagery with that was desaturated colors, dead flowers and stuff like that, kind of make it artsy fartsy, basically. But that's just my style that I've always loved. And I feel with the black and white, we can still experiment with that graininess and dark aesthetic that basically the music itself kind of fits with it.
I don't think the graininess is ever going to leave our aesthetic.
No.
I think even if we're doing colors, that grainy kind of vintagey film look, cinematic-y thing is probably something we're going to stick with just because we all like it a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious with that, how does that translate to your guys' live show? Because I feel those bands that have that visual aesthetic and kind of gimmicks when it comes to studio projects often will translate them into live. So how does that trick kind of work for you guys in terms of live?
We only play to colorblind people, so it works. No, there is a wardrobe kind of associated with all of it. Worked with a good friend of ours who, none of us are really fashion people. I mean, I'm literally just wearing all black, and that's my typical day-to-day.
I understand.
By friend of yours, do you mean your wife?
No, actually, no, not my.
Because I mean, she did everything else so far.
I know. No, not with this. So we have a friend. Her name is Ann, and she plays in a band called Altered Pink. And Altered Pink is just this indie, vibey kind of chill thing that I record all of her music. Anyways, Anne, who is a good friend of ours, who is not my wife, is really into fashion, and she's really fashionable herself. And so we just hit her up one day and we're like, hey, Anne, we kind of want to look cohesive to this image. What do we do? She's like, all right, cool. Do this and this and this. And shout out Anne. Thanks. But for the live show, Not honestly, we don't. Besides the outfit choices, I mean, we're just in a position where, like, the gear is the gear that we have, and it's not really like we can do a whole lot to be like, oh, we're gonna get black guitars and black amps and and black and white kind of stuff. I mean, Andrew, our guitar player, plays through an orange, so it's bright orange. So,
but I think that the music kind of speaks for itself when it comes to like the atmosphere, because with my piano, I have a Big Sky reverb pedal that creates like airiness in atmosphere.
Ambiance.
And being that sound that kind of fills up the room during the specific moments in our songs also kind of like makes you have that vibe of the artistic imagery.
Yeah, I think if you've watched the videos and know our aesthetic, like the sound I think fits super well, so it just kind of brings you to that place when you're watching it live. But if we could afford a black orange, I totally would.
Good luck there. That's like their whole identity is the orange. It makes it pop.
They do have like black Tolex oranges, but they're I mean, I have an orange sitting here, and I can't justify, like, unless someone's gonna 1-for-1 trade me, like I can't justify switching it out purely for the sake of a Tolex.
It's for the aesthetic, though.
I know the image suffers.
True.
My art.
There's always the Krylon finish.
What is that?
Krylon? Spray paint.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Krylon.
No, I can't do that. I'm sitting looking at my orange Rock Reverb 50 Mark III. I can't do that to that one. That's like that would break my heart.
Mark, I might die a little inside, and I'm not even in the same state as them.
I mean, whatever.
But yeah.
So my last question for you guys before we go to commercial break is it's really hard to kind of like, I was trying to explain the sound of So Much Hope to Billy and Mark when we started initially kind of planning this episode, and it's really hard because you guys have kind of gone through so many different changes and sounds throughout the years. Can you kind of explain in a nutshell kind of like what the sound is, or like influences, and kind of how you guys craft such a unique sound? Because I would just say it's somber. It's the current state is it's somber. It's like, it feels like if a funeral had a
rock band,
a rock band, or like a soundtrack, like that would be what I would say is kind of like that aesthetic. But
sorry, your bro died.
It ebbs and flows with it. So, like, can you guys describe the sound of So Much Hope Buried?
Yeah, of course. Why are you looking at me like that?
It's
So the sound of So Much Hope Buried, and I think that's the great thing about writing, is that when each member has totally different music tastes, and then when you put all of your inspirations into something and blend it all together, it creates something extremely unique and something that you've never heard before. So like, for me, for my like vocal melodies, I was always obsessed with like Silverstein and Reliant K. And then so like I base a lot of my vocal melodies off of kind of like inspiration from them through the years. But as for piano, I don't know if I really have maybe like the Fray or something, but like because I love the Fray. But like a lot of like piano subtlety stuff that I kind of bring into that. But then like Eric, you have a lot of your inspirations, but
I listen to a lot of music and a lot of different kind of music, but I think the one band that I would say is an inspiration for So Much Hope is actually Loathe, which is probably my favorite metal band ever. In a way. Obviously we're not like getting dumb heavy. But there's definitely things from Loathe that I'm like, I really like this vibe. And even though we're not in drop E or D or double drop D or whatever the heck they do, it's like there's still like elements of Loathe that I kind of tried to bring over. And then Andrew is a big like pop radio rock guy. So he loves his favorite band is actually Thrice. So he brings in elements from Thrice, I think. I'm actually not too keen on their music. I'm not sure. Not keen. I'm not familiar with their music. But I believe he does. And then I know as a unit, we listen to a lot of Holding Absence, like Holding Absence a lot.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, that's like kind of number one. And if we were to classify ourselves, we literally just call ourselves rock. We're just a rock band. I don't know what it is. I know,
melodic rock.
Melodic rock. We kind of dive into different genres here and there, some weird parts. And in one of our songs, Idle Hands, there's like a jazz section. And that was just because I remembered growing up playing drum. My drum teacher was like jazz trained. So a lot of my formal teaching was through jazz. So I was like, we should put a little jazz section in here just because. So yeah, a lot of our music is just like, hey, that would be cool. Let's just throw that in there.
Yeah, I think Andrew was listening to Careless Whisper and just crying alone, probably. Which I'm right there with him. But he's like, yeah, let's. I think that's what sparked the idea was Careless Whisper
for the sax. Yeah,
for the
sax. The sax and Idle Hands, it was Careless Whisper, and then the jazz section afterwards, I was just like, I want to play jazz. Which I haven't done since I was like, I don't know, 13.
I haven't played the saxophone since I was 13, so
well, there you go. It's just
jazz is always a good time. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break real quick. You guys are gonna get to hear of the music we've been teasing for the last few minutes, but we're gonna be right back. This is So Much Hope Buried. If you or someone you know is listening to this podcast right now and you're struggling with suicide, addiction, self-harm, or depression, we encourage you guys to please reach out. This is the heartbeat of why we do what we do. Suicide is currently the 10th leading cause of death in the United States, and as of this recording, there are 132 suicides that take place each and every day on American soil. And when you scale back internationally, there are 800,000 successful suicides. That is one death roughly every 40 seconds. So if you or someone you know is struggling, you guys can go to victimsandvillains.net/hope. That resource is going to be right in the description wherever you guys are currently listening or streaming this. There you'll find resources that include the National Suicide Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-8255. You can also text HELP to 741-741. We also have a plethora of other resources, including churches, getting connected with counselors, LGBT resources like the Trevor Project, and also veteran hotline as well. Please, if you hear nothing else in the show, understand that you listening to this right now, have value and worth. We get it. Suicide, depression, mental health, these are hard topics, and the stigma around them doesn't make it any easier. But please consider the resources right in the descriptions below wherever you guys are listening, because once again, you have value and you have worth. So please stay with us. Welcome back to Abyss Gazing, where we are here to talk about more music and neo-Nazis and Patrick Stewart and lots of other things.
Man, out of context, that's just like, what the heck is going on in this podcast?
We're talking about 2015's Green Room, which I think the majority of us had seen before this, but
Yeah.
Eric, you had not seen this one.
Not me.
Takeaways.
Who first?
Yeah, you go first. You're the virgin here.
Me? Uh-oh. I don't know if you want my opinion first.
Go for it.
Because watching it last night, I was incredibly bored.
Oof.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to be in the minority here, which is why, throw me under the bus immediately. But as I'm talking to my
Let's hear 'em
friends who we watched this with, I narrowed it down why. And I think my brain is looking for more character development before someone is killed. So I honestly, I don't even remember who the names of these people were, but like, I felt like I didn't know any of these people. And then all of a sudden they were dying. And I was like, I don't really care that you died because I don't know who you are. Like, I don't think the movie really gave me a reason to be like, oh no, fight and get away and survive because I care so much about you. Like, I don't know. But the one guy who got very swiftly domed by a shotgun was probably the sickest part of the movie.
But
that was a cool moment.
You were like rooting for this guy. You're like, oh my God, he's actually going to save the day. And then see ya.
I was like,
peace out, my guy.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the best part of the movie. But honestly, I was just like, I don't feel suspense at all. And I have a horror movie baseline of what I think what movies should be like, and that's Hereditary.
Oh,
and I know it's a different genre. Like, I understand, like, this is more real, and Hereditary is, the whole spooky exorcist thing, whatever. But
also pretty real.
But I just
in some aspects.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like when I watched Hereditary, I was like, oh my gosh, the cinematography is crazy. Like, the storytelling within the editing is crazy. And then with Green Room, I was like, it was fine.
Imagine if we had you guys do something like really just like bonkers, like goofy, off the wall, like basket case or something like that.
Yo.
Like Derek would have
he would love that movie.
I
think he would like Basket Case actually.
Maybe like I was talking last night.
Crotch grab in that.
What?
There's a great crotch grab in that movie.
Oh,
never mind. We'll watch it.
Or Dead Alive. Something
Dead
like Dead
Alive.
Alive.
I've been wanting
Yeah.
to watch that so bad.
I felt like 0 to 100, the dynamic was like it started off nothing and then kind of like bumped up to like 10 and then just sort of stayed there. And I never felt like it was like, oh my gosh, it's getting crazier and crazier. I just felt like, oh, they're killing this guy. Okay, they're killing this guy. And then like the little shotgun thing, and I was like, oh, okay, that was sick. And then it kind of went back down. And I'm not saying it was garbage. I didn't think it was garbage.
I think,
But I was like, I don't know. I think I had a bigger expectation for the movie.
I think this movie is like the best movie to pick for interviewing a band, because like I don't know, it's just
Told you,
like
gents.
it's just like I didn't think about it, and then like I think yesterday I was like driving home or something, and I was like, wait a minute, this is like the perfect movie to talk about right now. Like it's like genius.
So
But-
what is your synopsis?
So I love this movie.
Okay.
I mean, it's not perfect in my eyes, but I do think it's a beautifully done film. I think the acting is great, and I think the cinematography is like very green. Honest, like did you notice that? Like the cinematography is very green.
I
and
would argue
hazy.
that was intentional,
Right,
because
probably,
it was
yeah.
called Green Room.
Right. But yeah, I think the situation that these characters are put into, you're just like basically like a fly on the wall. And I remember the movie being a lot more disturbing, but when I saw it the second time, it wasn't that. I mean, it was disturbing. The effects were amazing, but it's like very subtle, but like just enough to like, I don't know, work so well. You know what I mean? It works very well.
I thought the editing in the whole every dog moment was so unimpactful. Like it killed me. Like when that dude ran out and got his like neck bitten by the dog or whatever. I don't know. The editing I was just like, wow, this is so unintense. I was just like, oh,
Dude,
okay,
no,
that
hold
guy's
on,
dead.
wait. So the part that like made my heart like reach out of my chest and like I ate it and stuff, but like that moment was when she went down like I forget what character her. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, see,
I don't remember the character's name, but she was the friend of the girl who
Amber.
Amber. Was it Amber?
Yes,
Okay.
it's
It was
Amber.
So Amber, when she went like with the door and like the vent where she went down and like looked and she saw the red laces, that's when like there was like a bass drop in my heart. I was like, oh no. And from right there, it was tense for me. And I was like, it was very suspenseful for me the whole time after that moment. Because she said, yeah, they're going to kill us. And then boom.
I will show my cards early. That way Eric doesn't feel like the only one. This movie's fine. It's okay.
Right.
Okay.
I agree.
Cool.
I think from conceptually there is like from someone that has booked tours for other bands, other artists, there is this like level of faith that you need to have when, and I want to get in more into this, but there is like this like level of faith you have to have that like people are going to follow through. Right. And so I think from like a conceptual standpoint, this movie really works. From an execution standpoint, this movie probably could have been way shorter and or even like a really long formatted short film.
I can agree. I can totally agree with that, actually. And I think it probably would have been better. You know what's funny? I had a friend who was literally without all the dying and blood and guts and stuff in this situation.
Oh God.
Where he was asked to play. He played this bar, and some guy came up to him and was like, "Hey, like that was a good set. Like, do you want to play like a private party?" And he's like, "Yeah, does it pay?" He's like, "Yes." And he's like, "Okay, great. So let's go play this private party." So he gave him like an address and was like, "It's private. Nobody knows we're here. You can't talk about this." And he's like, "Okay, like whatever. That's kind of weird, but yeah, sure." And he shows up, and it's a freaking neo-Nazi rally, like in some backwoods. And my friend's like, oh my gosh.
Nope.
He's like, I don't know what to do. So at that moment, he was like, I just got to play the show and leave. He's just like, play the show, keep your head down. Don't look at anybody. Don't talk to anybody. Just like keep yourself alive and leave. Like he was legitimately like, I can't like cause any problems, or like he was afraid, like not in a green room way, because I don't think he was going to get murdered like that. But he was legitimately like, if I back out right now, they're going to be like, excuse me. And he's like, I'm going to get beat up. So he's like, I just played my set and I dipped. And I was like, that's insane. That's insane. So I was thinking about that while watching this movie.
Yeah, and
That's
like
nuts.
another
Crazy.
reason why I think it's a great pick for this podcast is because like I know Eric, you've played at so many venues, but like I played at so many like disgusting venues that like I don't feel like clean like being in here. Didn't the movie open up? They were it looked like they were in like a Curry Donuts, just like jamming out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I,
Well,
mean,
it
I
was,
thought it was like a Shoney's or something.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like a Mexican restaurant, I think, or something. I don't know. But I have legitimately played in places where I went up to the one guy and I was like, hey, can I get the bathroom? And he pointed at the wall outside and I was like, sick. So then I start peeing on the wall and I'm looking down and I was like, yo, that's a heroin needle.
Oh
And I was like, oh gosh.
my gosh.
I know. Yeah, I played at some sketchy places.
Yeah.
But anyways,
My
I thought
my thing with the movie, and one of the reasons I liked it, is you don't ever see Patrick Stewart play that kind of role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 It's hard to not see him as Picard, but
Or Professor X.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he's
A
always
lot of the
gonna be
dialogue
Picard.
was quite brutal in this movie.
Yeah. Patrick Stewart drops the N-word twice. And I
Yeah.
was like, whoa.
He does.
It's like
Well, I
faulty
think
scripting.
I think that kind of comes also with being skinheads. It's part of the
Oh,
script.
well, yeah, I figured. Yeah.
But I mean, at least they
100%.
didn't have to do much makeup because he's already bald.
I
So
True. Saving money.
It seems like it Mark, I'm glad you brought it up because like it is such an out of character or out of
Yeah.
archetype for him as an actor, because you think of Picard, he would always be my Charles Xavier. So like,
Yeah.
and another one that like
He
also is a
he
hero.
even plays Xavier as just Picard in a wheelchair almost.
That's perfectly fair, but like I think one of the driving forces behind this movie is the fact that you have a character, an actor that is completely breaking mold, is completely walking away from everything he's made famous for the last 20, 30 years. And like I think that's part of the reason that makes this movie as impactful as it is, because I mean you put the right cinematography on him, you put the right shadows on him, put a gun in his hand. Patrick Stewart is pretty freaking chilling.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I mean,
he says that at the end of the movie. He's like, you were scary at night.
he's going to go down.
Yeah,
as
you
a
were
legend
scarier
in
at night.
acting. He's going to go down as a legend in acting. Him and his best friend Ian McKellen, they're like best friends in real life.
Are they?
Yes.
Yep.
Ian McKellen actually officiated Patrick Stewart's wedding a
Oh,
few years
Oh
back.
wow.
Yeah, they're best friends in real life.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So he does a lot of Shakespeare plays. He did a one-man show of Christmas Carol.
I knew that.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was in Dune back in the 80s.
Back before he had lost all of his hair.
He was still pretty much bald.
He was, but the longer you got to the end, the more it was just kind of like this like
Horseshoe mullet.
like horseshoe mullet. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, he's one of the funniest things I've ever seen him in was an episode of Frasier. He plays like a gay Broadway director that tries to hook up with Frasier, and he goes along with it just because of all the attention and getting to hang out with all these actors and stars and stuff. It's pretty funny. It's a pretty funny episode. But yeah, Patrick Stewart can play just about anything, and this is just so far out of character from what he does play that it makes it that much better.
I don't know why, but I was picturing Patrick Stewart with a mohawk, and that would be pretty sick, wouldn't it? If he had a mohawk through the whole thing.
I mean, I don't think it would be believable because nobody's seen him with hair in like 40 or 50 years.
No,
exactly.
The first time that I saw Dune was during the pandemic, and my brain didn't register that it was Patrick Stewart because he still had hair, and I was like, why do I know this voice? And then it gets like into like the third act, and I was like, oh my God, this is Patrick Stewart. He did have hair at one point.
Wow.
It took me the whole movie to realize that I think his name is Pat was Chekhov, that actor. Yep. I literally, we got to the end of it, and I was like, "Oh, it's Chekhov!"
Yeah, and they just kind of like spiral sliced hammed his arm.
Yeah,
that was wild.
So
I think I was so confused with the wolf thing, and I was like, "What does that have to do with anything? Like, was it just like a cue to kill the chick?" Like, what the heck?
Yeah. During the song.
What the heck?
Is he talking about the Flesh Grinder song?
Like meat
grinder.
What the heck was it called? Yeah.
They were gonna. That was supposed to be a cue for the girl that died, and what was his name? Danny or Dan or
Daniel.
Whatever.
Daniel.
Yeah.
They were gonna leave.
They were gonna.
They were gonna take off during that song. Yeah. Because they were trying to get out.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. Actually, I have a question. What was the bat in the bag when he came over and he's like, "You were supposed to get rid of this"?
It was,
what was that?
It was evidence from some previous killings the summer before. They released it later in the movie.
They said Easter before. They had some killings and everything. They didn't go into detail, but it was evidence. I guess he was going to hold over their head whenever he got away,
or to get away. Yeah.
Oh.
I was confused about that.
Yeah, no, I was a little confused with that. It's like, it's unfortunate because like the way that my TV is, like I don't have a sound bar or anything, so like the audio sucks. So it's like sometimes hard to hear dialogue, and then you end up just like reading subtitles the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it like Josh, it was fine. It was fine.
Billy, where are you at in all of this?
I mean, now it's one of those movies you look at it, it's like, okay, I agree with y'all. It's okay. But when it came out, it was a lot better because everything was, I mean, for the graphics and all at the time, that was more of top of the food chain there.
It had a bit of shock value to it back then that it doesn't have now.
So let me put this into like perspective. Like this movie came out 2015. This movie I don't think had a wide release. I think this was when A24 was still doing limited release. So a lot of people didn't actually get to see this movie until Anton Yelchin had actually died the previous year in 2016 when he joined.
I think it was The Witch when they finally got big enough to start doing wide releases.
Yes, which I believe came after this.
Yeah.
So not only do you have like the shock of Anton Yelchin, this 27-year-old dying so incredibly young, you know, he had basically his entire career ahead of him. You had the previously mentioned Sir Patrick Stewart playing a neo-Nazi, and you have a lot of this stuff, you know, a lot of the subject matter of, you know, neo-Nazis versus a rock band that was just kind of in the wrong place, the wrong time. Like a lot of it just kind of seemed like it was packaged for that shock value. But I feel like, and yeah, I feel like now it's kind of lost a lot of that shock because we've seen a lot of the subject matter and a lot of the themes kind of here. They play out more on a day-to-day basis. And so it's kind of just kind of feels like it's like, oh, this could just be like a news report that we happen to see because, band from Wisconsin ended up coming through and, all of these neo-Nazis and this is a heroin operation. Like, I feel like this could be like ripped right from the headlines.
Oh,
Yeah.
the terms and labels are thrown around so widely now that they've almost lost any meaning. You do something somebody doesn't agree with, and you're suddenly labeled a Nazi or a racist or something, and you haven't actually done anything. You just disagreed with somebody. So they've lost their value or meaning because of how just widely all that's thrown around now.
I don't think I've ever knowingly been around someone that was like a Nazi or someone who would be like genuinely racist. And maybe it's just like, I don't know, the circles that like I'm around, like, what I do for a living or the way that I grew up. I don't know, but I'm sure they're out there somewhere. But it's not something that I encounter in my life often, if like ever.
I've
fortunate.
I've actually known some people in those circles. I've never been in those circles because I'm not that kind of person, but I've known some that are. And it was weird because some of them seem like they just had something to prove, like that guy that goes and bench presses 400 pounds to prove he can do it to all his gym bros. They almost were aggressive to the point of, I've got to prove that I'm the baddest guy here, where others were perfectly normal individuals that you'd talk to any day of the week until you found out their background and what they're into and believe. But you'd see them in like a business situation, business setting, and you'd never know. So it's really weird with a lot of people.
And some of them are passed down like family beliefs. They grow up in that stuff. And some of them you may not realize until, like Mark said, you start getting more into their core, their background. They may act normal, and then certain things just check a box that's off.
I think this movie kind of proves it too, is like the scene where like the band like strolls up to the bar and they have these like suspicions, and then like those suspicions kind of get confirmed as the film progresses. But sometimes there are people that are just either good at hiding their hatred, and then racism is a really interesting thing because some people are very closeted about it, some people are very vocal about it, and it's prejudice is always a very interesting thing to deal with, and especially as Mark was saying, like in today's society, like you really got to be careful about jokes you make, what you say, like opinions you share, and who you share them around, because like people are so quick to judge and point fingers and draw the lines.
Yeah.
Well, when I was growing up and first getting into metal, I'd go out wearing band T-shirts, and you racist, just because I had on a metal shirt.
What?
Yeah. This was also in like the 90s.
Weird.
This was late 90s, things like that. And that's a scene that for some reason has always carried that stigma, even though a majority of metal is some of the most accepting groups you'll ever meet.
How would you guys like to help us get mental health resources into schools, conventions, and other events? Well, now you can. Simply go to patreon.com/victims and villains for as little as $1 a month. You guys can help us get mental health resources into current and upcoming generations, educate and break down stigma surrounding mental health, suicide, and depression. And you get exclusive content that you can't get anywhere else. And you guys can tell us which Nicolas Cage movie you want us to cover, and we'll do it. All it takes to get started is to go to patreon.com/victims and villains, or simply click the link in the episode description wherever you guys are currently listening or streaming this episode. Pick your tier and get started today. Yes, it's that simple. So quickly select the tier that you want and help us get hope into the hands of the depressed and the suicidal today.
Right.
Or
I took a coworker to a ministry show, and he was actually scared going in. He's like, "Aren't they going to be mad that I'm black?" He's like, "No, dude,
no.
And I'm like, "Just wear something you don't mind getting pulled on, and some tennis shoes you don't mind getting stepped on, and you'll be fine." And he had a blast. He loved it to the point that we were making plans to go to a Devil Driver concert a couple weeks later because he had so much fun and just absolutely loved it. Made him a convert. But it's just there's so much misunderstanding to a lot of group that they just throw these labels like that on them. And metal is one of them. Metal's one of those genres that's been that way, and it's unfortunate.
It's probably because you find music in metal that is like saying terrible things.
Well, you can find music like that in multiple genres, not just metal.
Yeah, because like I grew up and like I'm still very active in like Christian metal and like metalcore and hardcore and
Hey,
like,
yeah, brother. I have a sleeper tattoo.
Oh yeah.
Let's go!
I've got one O sleeper and I've got 3 Under Oath tattoos. So
let's go.
That's
rest in peace, Under Oath.
But like I always heard like, oh, because you're because there's no way that like music like this could like even be addressing anything in scripture or praising Jesus. You must be like conjuring demons and like trying to work with the devil and stuff like that. It's like, no, it's like, but the more outside that I got from Christian metal, like the more I would hear a lot of the things that Mark was talking about, a lot of these like stigmas that just like happened to kind of go hand in hand with different types of music that wasn't considered mainstream. It's from a touring hag myself, that you guys will run into a lot of the stuff as bands as you guys start to tour more. Very similar to the way that the band and kind of Tad's situation where like, they're playing a diner and then they get $6 each. And like, dude, I've had quite a few shows that ended up like just terrible like that.
Oh yeah. I toured pretty heavily for a while actually. I used to be in a band called Tala. I don't know if you've ever heard of that band.
Yep.
But yeah, so I played in Tala for a while and that was sweet and it took me all over the place. And actually, you know who didn't like me at all? Was people from the UK. Oh my gosh. They were literally like, "You're a dumb American." And I was like, I was like, I don't know what to say to you. I'm just gonna go somewhere else. Yeah, that was wild. They definitely, I mean, I got verbally insulted a lot over in the UK.
Well, probably from words you've never heard before.
Yeah, and I was like, "You're white too. Go away." But yeah, no, that was a good time. But yeah, no,
stupid sod.
Yeah, you can't say that on air. Yeah, I don't know. So much hope hasn't done much touring and hasn't been this iteration of this band really is fairly new. We haven't done a whole lot yet. Like this is like our big release and whatnot. We have plans and so on and so forth for the future, but like everybody in the band has a background from other projects or other things that we were doing for a while and like touring experience.
I'm excited to see the vast. I'm excited to see more sketchy venues and explore them. And just kind of feel more disgusting about it. But
I think the worst I ever saw was I saw Soilwork. I had seen them at a normal like 1,000-person venue, but the next time I had seen them, I guess they didn't sell well, so they ended up at like a little metal bar and club instead of a normal venue. And they were all pissed off, and it was kind of a grimy little club too.
Mm.
Where like you can hear your feet sticking to the floor and carpet and stuff. One of those places.
I've been there.
Yep.
And it was
Yep.
just like you could tell they were playing, and the singer, what's his name? I think he goes by Speed or something like that. You could tell he was just pissed off to be playing in this little bitty little bar for like 100 people.
There's a bar.
Yeah.
There was a bar in Scranton that I think closed now, but it was called Irish Wolf Pub, and that place always made me feel like very sticky. And during it was with my previous band, we were like a metal band, and we were on stage, and the TV went out above the bar, and it was just static. All right, so the bartender stood on the bar and grabbed black tape, and he made an upside down cross. And during our like breakdown, that was happening, and it was like, this is very scary, and I don't want to be here anymore.
Well, I don't know if any of you have ever played or been to St. Vitus.
Cannot say I have.
Dude, in New York City, it is a satanic bar, and it may have closed. I don't actually know. I haven't been there. But since I don't know 2018 or 19. But yeah, I walked in there and I was like, oh, it's like pentagrams everywhere and upside down crosses and Baphomets and skulls and goats, and I was like, wow, this is a really interesting place.
Black Phillips everywhere, you know.
What? See, I don't think I would scare. I don't think I would scare me as much as the fear of possibly falling through the floor. Yeah. There used to be a venue in Baltimore. I don't even know if it's there anymore. But the stage was like plywood, and every time a band would play, you could see it like the foundation of it just kind of shake. And so you're just waiting.
That's how
for
that band was. That's how that little club was that I was talking about a little earlier.
You're just waiting for the drum set to fall through and everything else to just follow suit.
They had one band, the Sex Slaves. It actually was a lot of rockabilly and have some good music. They're like, we don't drink until we get on stage. So if y'all want to buy us drinks, go ahead. And all of a sudden you just start seeing trays of shots coming up to the stage. And they're just getting plastered while they're playing. They put on a good show. They were fun. They were just like a 3-piece rockabilly band. And their best song was "Thank You, Lord, for Jack Daniels." Yeah.
Heck yeah. I feel like if hypothetically, if the floor did collapse, it would be fun at first because you would be like falling and it'd be like, woohoo, you know what I mean? But when you land, I don't think it would be very fun. And I should probably stop talking.
It would be a pretty punk rock story to tell afterwards, though.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
And then
come out with, I did this on purpose.
Yeah,
that was part of the show.
The Sex Slaves were co-headliners with the Genitorturers, who Manson opened for in his early career.
Oh,
and he got a lot of his stage show from them.
Interesting.
So yeah, they're playing, and that was a fun show.
I think our stage show should now just be taking the mic and putting it on the monitor.
Yeah.
So like every dog just runs away, you know?
we don't want that.
Yeah, because like we don't want dogs in our show.
Scary dogs only.
Yeah. Like any chihuahua, gone.
100%, dude. Those are freaking creepy.
Start out with the song they did. What was it? Was it "F.U. Nazis"?
What? Nazi Punks, the Dead Kennedy song.
Yeah.
That shouldn't have been the first song they played. That should have been the last.
Yeah, that was. Oh my gosh, I was like, what? Like they knew they were at a Nazi bar.
Yeah, that's why they did it. That's he makes the comment when they're in the green room getting ready. Yeah. He's like, I've got an idea.
Yeah, he's like, I got a stupid idea.
Stupid idea.
I don't know. I thought that was weird, and then, oh my gosh, now that I think about it, they did that stupid, stereotypical trope of let's split up. I was like, what?
Did any of you guys see his other movie? I didn't, but I heard that the characters also make stupid decisions in that movie too.
What's it called?
I don't know.
Oh.
I
The
can't think of it. I'll have
director's
to look it up.
movie?
Yeah, the other movie he has.
Well, that's kind of a
Or-
normal stereotype of horror movies. They always split up and die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like the point of it, but
I don't like that. I don't like that, especially in a movie like this where they're not like they're supposed to be like it's like real life. Like, man, if all 5 of us were in a band and went play some Nazi bar and they were gonna kill us, the last thing that I'm gonna say is, "Hey, you know what, Mark? Why don't you go over there and I'll go over here?" They're like, no, we're sticking together.
I mean, yeah, we're sticking together. Ain't no way
Yeah,
to separate.
I'd be like, no, we're all gonna form together like a freaking like Power Ranger, and we're gonna run at them.
Over here
and
like
then, like,
Voltron
morph.
or something.
yeah,
yeah,
morph together and
yeah. We'll
create,
become like a
dragon.
Velociraptor. Yeah,
Or a Velociraptor's cooler.
and then go charge them or something. I don't know. Like,
I wanted to bring this up. This movie, when I was watching it, it really made me think of a film that went under the radar for me. You ever hear of Eden
Shark
Lake?
Tale. Oh,
Nope. Eden
Yeah,
Lake from
I have
2000, I think 2008.
Yep.
But like I never heard of it, and then like randomly, I think somebody I follow on like Letterboxd was like talking about it, and I was like, seems like my kind of movie, and it kind of had a similar vibe to where like they're just not safe because of the specific group of people, and they're just being hunted, and it had that like I think Eden Lake's more disturbing, but I just wanted to let you guys know that it kind of made me think of that movie.
I pulled
It's
it
so
up real
good.
quick. I've heard of it. I just haven't seen it.
Mark,
Oh,
we
so good.
should cover it, man. I've heard nothing but good things about it because I also haven't seen it,
And
but
there's
it's
high
been
Really?
tension
on
as
my
well.
list.
Oh
High
my
Tension
God.
is so good. Ugh.
Yes, it is. I love that's what. Oh my god, that and Inside, the two like French like films that like blew me away was High
Yeah.
Tension and Inside. Inside, I think it's called.
Yeah,
One of the most bloodiest movies I've ever seen in my life.
yeah.
But
The French extremists of the turn of the century is quite produced some quite gnarly movies, including Irreversible.
oh
which
my!
is if
There-
you know, you know.
So it's a great film, and then you just have to just fast forward 10 minutes,
Oh, I
and
know
then it's a great
exactly.
film.
Okay. I know, Derek. You talk about.
Yeah, I
this
talk
one.
about that movie.
Yeah, I know this.
Well,
one.
Gaspar Noé is like one of my favorite directors, because I think Climax is a masterpiece, and Climax is a masterpiece. I love that movie.
So fun
Very
fact, AMC Plus, the streaming service had last summer had Irreversible on their streaming service, and their thumbnail for that was that scene.
Oh God!
Yes, of everything else you could have chosen
There
in
you
that
go.
movie, and you chose that scene. But yeah, anyway, Green Room. I think that's it for us on this. Unless there's anything else you guys want to talk about, comments, questions.
Yeah, I want you guys to give me your 0 out of 5 stars
Actually,
for this movie. What is it? I'm
Billy,
gonna
you
give
go
mine
first.
last.
Billy, you go first.
I give it like a 2.5.
Oh,
wow! Dang!
Wow, you really hated
There's
this movie.
Wow!
Well, it was predictable. Like like he said, they split up and everything else. I'm like, come on, man.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 because I think it's a great film, and I really enjoyed the atmosphere and the acting, and just it's my kind of jam. That's
Wow.
it.
Are we thinking that's going to be the highest of this episode?
4 out of 5,
Yeah.
probably.
Oh. Let me guess yours, Mark. Let me guess yours. I'm gonna say that Mark is gonna go a 2 out of 5.
No, because I enjoy Patrick Stewart.
Okay, what are you going?
3.5.
Okay.
3.5 is great. Yeah. Okay.
I will meet the middle of you guys, and I will go 3. I think that this movie's, like I
Wow.
said, it's fine. I
I
think
can,
cinematography,
I
acting.
Mhm.
as a fan of horror, you kind of expect the stereotypes and cliches. So I
You're not
can
wrong.
get past a lot of that, especially when you've got something so out of character for a major actor like that.
Yeah.
And he does a good job at it too.
I'm going with a 2 out of 5. But Mark, I'm going to challenge you. If Patrick Stewart was not famous in any other facet, would that movie hold up as much as it did for you? If it was just like a guy who is good at acting, but like you don't know him from other things.
Does he do as good of a job?
Yeah. Same guy, same acting, like all of it's the same, except he didn't do Star Trek and X-Men and so on and so forth. It's just
I'd probably go with a 3.
okay.
Because it's still got some solid violence in it. And sometimes you just need some brainless violence.
Yo, that's why I watch Ninja Assassin.
Well, yeah.
one of my all-time favorite movies is Ninja Assassin, and arguably that movie sucks. Like it's not a good movie. But dude, ninjas killing each other? Heck yeah.
I mean that's why I keep going back to Mortal Kombat movies. They're just goofy violence. It's fun time.
Oh,
yeah. And I think I had an expectation for this movie to be like good in the sense of like narrative good. And I was kind of disappointed at that. And I think if I went into it with a different expectation, such as like if I went into Ninja Assassin thinking this is going to be a story, then I'd be like, this movie friggin' sucks. But I went into that movie thinking like, yo, there's going to be some sick ninja violence.
I feel like
it was amazing.
They need to use that actor in more stuff. He's
like
an excellent, whatever his name was.
Yeah, I don't know his real name, but in the movie, his name is Rizzo.
Like him and Tony Jaa, they've got some fantastic martial arts skills.
Yeah, and he's ripped
in movies.
Like, I freaking love Ninja Assassin.
I mean, there are some movies that they're not great movies, but you're not watching them for their plot.
Amen, brother. Exactly.
We did one of them last week. Killer Clowns from Space.
Oh yeah, see, like
you're watching that movie because it's awesome.
Yes, true.
All right.
One more takeaway, really quick. I'm sorry. Did you notice that the bouncer, Big Justin, had the red laces when he was being dragged after he sadly passed? I wouldn't say sadly, but after he passed, did you notice that he had the red laces? Like, I was like, I didn't notice that before.
I didn't know.
Another take. Yeah, I there's like a little takeaway.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's involved. Like I said, I knew some people that were involved in it, but I know you had to earn the red laces.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like if you either hurt or kill people or something.
I don't know.
So that's like a legit thing. It's not like this is like a
movie thing. Yeah.
No, that's a legit thing.
Okay.
They have to earn them. I don't know what's involved, and I never asked. I didn't want to know.
Well, now I'm going to look it up.
Because I mean,
I'm looking it up.
Gabe got his at the halfway through the movie too. So, all right, I think that's going to do it for us on this episode of Abyss Gazing. But Eric, where can people find out more about So Much Hope Buried?
Yeah, you can. We have all brand new merch. We have vinyls. We have CDs for our new album. I'd be lying to say I'm not weak. That came out on Friday.
Yeah, but where?
But we have all of that stuff on SoMuchHopeBuried.com.
Yeah.
And you can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music,
anywhere
else.
All the streaming sites. Follow us on like Instagram, on Facebook, on whatever. I mean, we post all the time on those things, so you can see where we're playing, what shows we're playing, where, hopefully in Carlisle, wink wink, nudge nudge. And so SoMuchHopeBuried.com.
Yeah.
All right, we'll provide links for you guys in the show notes below for you guys to check it out. Mark, where can people find you online?
I've actually started updating my stuff where I'm working on a competition piece. Titanium Juggernaut painting on Instagram.
Billy?
Of course, you can find me at Letterboxd at VABoy99.
What's up? What's
Bet.
good? You guys can also find me on Letterboxd. It is
Oh.
Captain Nostalgia. You guys can follow us, Abyss Gazing, wherever you guys get your podcast from. And you guys can also follow our parent company, Victims and Villains. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, and wherever you guys get your podcasts from. So until next time, remember, the longer that you gaze into the abyss, the more the abyss gazes back into you.